The Zach Ratliff Show is brought to you by Mortgage Financial and Texarkana, Elmwood Custom Goods, and Church on the Rock Texarkana. That's churchontherock.org.
Hello and welcome to the Zach Ratliff Show. I'm Zach. I'm glad to be with you. Glad you are with me. Thank God for another day. Thank God for the greatest country that he's ever put on the face of this earth. All right, man, I've got a lot to cover today. I've got a lot of articles from where I was gone, and some of this will be repetitive. So what I do is I just text myself, what it is that I find interesting. And in doing that, um, sometimes sometimes it'll be something of a similar note or whatever. A lot of you regular listeners know that. Anyway, I'm just going to run through this starting with at Tuesday night at 7:59 p.m. and then go all the way till the last one I sent myself this morning. So here we go. Benny Johnson on X.com says the House Oversight Chair James Comer says the DOJ can now declare all of Biden's pardons null and void and begin making mass arrest. That's strong in and of itself, because there is nothing stopping the Department of Justice from going after the deep state with our investigation. If the DOJ does what we recommend, they will be fully declared null and void. Fauci for everything he put us through, the January 6th committee for falsifying documents, the Biden family for taking millions from our enemies and lying. The list goes on. This is strong. If these pardons get nullified, and it's looking, and I'll have an article here in a little bit on that. It's looking like the auto pen started early in his presidency. He didn't have a clue what he was assigning for almost the entire 4 years. He being Joe Biden. This is a big deal, ladies and gentlemen. This is a huge deal. Now, here's something that's just political theater. Um, This from Eric Doherty on X.com. Just in, the U.S. Senate votes to terminate President Trump's 50% tariffs on Brazilian imports, 52 to 48. Well, wait a second. What happened? But there were Republicans, of course, who voted for this, and they are Mitch McConnell, Tom Tillis, Rand Paul, Lisa Murkowski, and Susan Collins. What in the world? Why do they hate progress so much? Why do they hate what's good for our country so much? Why, at every chance do they get, do they turn around and stab us right in the throat? It's maddening. Here's the good news: the House of Representatives still needs to pass it, and then the president will need to sign it, and all that's not going to happen. It's 100% just so they can stick their finger in the eye of the president. That's all it is. Just so they can virtue signal that they're against him. It's the uniparty at its best. This is from, oh, did they take it away? This is from Amy Lou Who on X.com. Only 18.7% of EBT or food stamp recipients are Americans. All of these 40 million people you're hearing about that they're going to lose their benefits as of Saturday, only less than 20% of them are American citizens. 81.3% of the people getting free food from the government in this country are not American citizens. No wonder it's easy for everybody to get here once they get in. How about this? Let's just and here's what the Republicans have done. They've already offered the continuing resolution to fund this. This is a Democrat debacle. I don't know why we keep trying to fix it for them. But let's just fund the 18% of people that are citizens. Let's take care of our own. Like if you watch JD Vance speak last night on that university campus, with what he said we need to do. But once again, 18% are American citizens. Crazy. I mean, absolutely crazy. This is from Steven Crowder. SNAP costs taxpayers $145 billion a year. Recipients spend twice what the average worker does on groceries. That's not helping the poor. This is him. It's rewarding people who abuse the system. That's absolutely right. You make your money and you're frugal with your money. You know which bread is still good but costs less. You know which milk can go. Look, I'm not above saying I'll buy the name brand if it's the same price per ounce or per pound or whatever but there's a good thing for your great values and your store brands, your members mark or wherever you shop. There's a reason for that. I won't do off name cola products though. Cola. Let me get a liter of cola. Um anyway, when it's not your money, you don't care. Even if you say you do. You're gonna spend twice as much because they're gonna load up on everything they ever thought they wanted. I'm not for starving people, but why when you steal my money out of my check, you hold me hostage to go into prison or to interest payments or whatever if I don't pay it, and then you give it away to somebody, and why can they spend more on their kids than I get to spend on mine? It's ridiculous. Then half the people, and we've got an article coming on about that. Not half. Let me just go ahead. Then some of the people receiving these are selling their food stamps. And if you don't know that that's reality, we're about to get into that in an article, but 100% it is. And I thought everybody knew that until I've watched this news cycle. And apparently, you do not, which I don't know. Maybe it's just the world that I grew up in. Um, the socioeconomic system here in our area. The school district I went to is LMI, low to moderate income, and so maybe because of that, I was just more familiar with it. It was naive of me to think that everybody else understood this. Okay, this just in from Eric Doherty on X.com. Just in, climate change scam is collapsing to its lowest levels of support in decades. Who knew? Who knew that the climate change man-made problem wasn't real? Except for your boy. I knew. You can't tell me what the weather's going to do next week or tomorrow. Last week it wasn't going to rain on one day. It was going to rain on Saturday. What did it do on Friday? The bottom dropped out of that bad boy. You can't tell me you can tell me what you think it's going to do. And we know that global warming has always been around. We know there have been multiple ice ages in the past. For there to have been multiple ice ages, we know it has had to warm up a multiple times. Of course, this is a scam. Once again, it's all about power and it's all about money, and we can't forget that. It says the climate change message, and this is from Eric Doherty, that it's worrisome has not worked with the American people because we don't have time to worry about it because we're busy paying all these grifters to get double the groceries we're getting. Um, the top issue for the US, 2%. So only 2% of people see the climate change as the top issue. Yeah, of course. The climate change will affect my home area, 2023, 23% say now, 17, no, 23% 2023, now it's 17%. And only 27% of Democrats because they too are worried about eating and their way of life. This is the lowest number that we've seen in 36 years. It's crazy. But don't worry, they'll keep telling us why. Okay, here's the article that you know, me going through all these articles in just a pretty quick manner reminds me, when you go to certain churches or whatever, and the preacher's like, we're just going to cover a couple of verses, and then you better know your Bible, baby, because you're running through all of them. Golly, I thought we are going to stick to three or four, preacher. Like the eighth or ninth verse, you just put your Bible down. Like, I guess I'll just listen. Right? Okay, so here we go. Let me. I've got a call coming in. Let me take that, and I'll be back. I appreciate you understanding that I had to take a call, as I am a working professional. But now back to the show. All right, let's get back to it. So this is the article I was referencing earlier. This is from Wall Street 8 on X.com. Wall Street 8 on X.com. More Americans are exposing the truth about SNAP EBT program. And then it has this lady, and I'm just going to read what she's. Oh, wait. Well, it's a dude. Anyway, um, it says the real reason why a lot of people are upset about the whole food stamp SNAP benefits thing, bro, is because they're selling their food stamps. They're selling them. I'm telling you, they are selling their food stamps. You know how many people in New York and other states right now are going to the corner store, the deli, and they're selling their food stamps? Because that's why they're getting like 3,000. People get $4,000 in food stamps. First of all, that's wild. I am naive to that. It says, and then they sell them for cash. They'll get $4,000 in food stamps, and they'll trade it for $1,000 in cash. So that's happening everywhere, and that's why they're mad. That's good to know. $4,000 groceries. How crazy is that? Don't worry, the working stiff will pay for it. We're going to give you $4,000 in groceries. And also, we're going to pay for your kid to have breakfast, lunch, snack, and possibly dinner at school. We have bred generations of slaves, voluntary slaves, black, white, and brown. Generations of slaves will give you $3,000 worth of food a month. We'll take care of your kid and feed them some a year round at school. We'll pay for your housing. We'll give you a cell phone. We'll give you grants for your electric bill. All you have to do is stick to voting for this person who keeps giving it to you so that they can grift off the go. No wonder we're $38 trillion in debt. No wonder this is going like this. Oh, that's just frustrating. But once again, I thought everybody knew people were selling their food stamps. Because that's the way I grew up. Not the way, not selling food stamps, but around people who sold their food stamps. Side note, if you don't know this, there's also a thing called a crazy check. There were kids, I graduated high school in 2004, so it's been 21 years, but there were kids whose moms would get mad if they did too good on their grade. Because if they did, they didn't get the check for their kid being stupid. And they called it the crazy check. Go ahead and add that to your list of things you didn't know. Okay, this is let's move on. From Eric Doherty. Breaking: the Federal Reserve cuts interest rates for the second time in 2025. That was also on Fox News. Rates are being cut by 25 basis points, which is a quarter, 0.25. Now at 3.75 to 4. Good. Let's drop it another 1.5% so we can get some movement. Jerome Powell hates Donald Trump. He's not going to make a big move. He's doing this because he has to, um, just to placate everyone. I'm ready for him to leave. Okay, Gunther Engelman. And this is showing a Fox News headline as well. Trump seals the deal. President Trump has officially locked in a massive trade pact, $350 billion with South Korea. $200 billion in direct investments, $100 billion in LNG buys, that's liquid natural gas, which comes from us, they're buying from us, and slash their tariffs from 25 to 15%. But don't worry, the cowardly Republicans in the Senate and then the Democrats don't think tariffs will work when here we are getting another trade deal to our advantage. We are the king of the hill, the top of the heap. We're everything. Let's act like it. Do we want to rule the world? No. But do we want to be taken advantage of? Also, no. Let's go, baby. Let's get these deals. Let's do better for our citizens. Because who does the world come to when there's a catastrophe? The United States. Who do they come for military aid or humanitarian aid or whatever else? The United States. How do we pay for that? Off the back of me and you. Let's make this money. Then we can do our charity, right? Then we can spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. Then we can go help other nations. Let's don't cripple ourselves and then oh, we can't help anybody because we can't afford it. No, because we screwed ourselves. Oh man. Anyway, this is from David Harris Jr. or David J. Harris Jr. on X.com. Tensions erupt on Capitol Hill as Representative Josh Gothamer breaks ranks, demanding that Chuck Schumer, oh, he's a Democrat, demanding that Chuck Schumer reopen the government immediately. Their own side is turning on him. That's exactly right. Some of these Democrats are like, whoa, whoa, whoa. We thought we were going to roll in the midterms, and here we're getting blamed for the shutdown because they're responsible for the shutdown. Golly. Peter Griffin says, really grinds my gears. All right. Or maybe it's Basil the Great, um, on X.com says an absolutely horrific call. A London woman calls in and cries her eyes out in desperation on the news. He says, we're not racist, we're petrified. What are these politicians doing to us that they're putting everyone in danger? These are all quotes. I don't leave the house without a man. My local shop has had 3 stabbings, 1 murder. My friend was murdered last year. A girl I know was murdered in the park. I'm begging my son to leave the country. My cousin was murdered. Our friends and family are dying. What is she talking about? Well, the Islamic infiltration into London, aka Londonistan. There was a reason for the Christian crusade. The 400 years before that, the Muslims tried to take over the world. And that's what's happening again. Just pay attention. Open your eyes. It's not racist, it's the truth. Ah. Here's this, and I'm glad to see it. This is from IMTIAZ Mahmoud on X.com. The UK is facing a diplomatic and intelligence earthquake after Israel with, withdrew its diplomatic intelligence. Why did they do that? Because Prime Minister Starmer is going against Israel, and they're letting so many Muslims in that take control. Israel's like, we're not giving you information. So now this article goes on to say the British government is shocked to acknowledge that it is now defenseless against foreign terrorist threats after Israel abruptly suspended its historic role of protecting the UK. And it's protected the UK from at least 17 terrorist attacks that were planned on British soil. Israel's like, all right, go against us. We won't give you the information coming out of the Middle East. Remember, Israel has people in so many places. They were able to knock out how many with pager bombs? They're embedded into the enemy. They're also embedded into probably every other government in the world. They're not enemies you want. And the UK has made a grave mistake with this. Apparently, I was fired up. We've got more on SNAP benefits. This is from C3 on X.com. Why would the SNAP benefit program almost double starting when Biden was president? And it's got a chart there. It says America was flooded with illegals and anchor babies. And then the entire household is eligible for SNAP. And Americans pay for it all. Like we said earlier, only 18.7% or whatever of the SNAP beneficiaries are American citizens. We are being taken advantage of every day. Our politicians didn't want us to know. Yet here we are. This is from Cat Turd and also from John Strand. The FBI just dropped nearly 200 pages posted by White House Judiciary proving the state Trump cases weren't state at all. The Biden DOJ, and FBI ran it all through proxy attorney generals to cripple Trump and his lawyer. It was all a coup. Everything we were called crazy for, everything we were called conspiracy theorists for turned out to be right. Biden and his team, or whoever controlled them, did everything they can, including Obama, Hillary Clinton, did everything they could to overthrow our government. The people saw through it. Trump was able to come back. God shined a light on it, if you want to look at it from that perspective. We have to, it's like the song, can be held responsible. Somebody has to be held responsible. We have to do something about it. And I believe that the DOJ will. All right, here we go. Let's see. Derek Evans on X.com. Like I said, I'm just going to read all these. You can get what you get out of them. Derek Evans on X.com. 59% of all illegal aliens are collecting food stamps, meaning that most of the people getting food stamps from the U.S. government are not even tax-paying Americans. Once again, it's like everybody's finding out. That was on Newsmax, by the way, from Derek Evans. At Senator John Kennedy, this is from DOJ, the Fish and Wildlife Service $1.35 billion barred owl extermination plan epitomizes bureaucracy. They spent $3,000 per owl to artificially prop up a weaker species, calling it conservation. What a joke. Chicago One Ray, this is also from Fox News. House Oversight has declared the actions signed by the Biden's auto pen are null and void. This means Adam Schiff, Mark Milley, Liz Cheney, Jack Smith will face justice. This is what we voted for. This is what 72 million of us voted for. But it takes time. It takes time. Now, here's something we don't hear about, and I don't know why. This is from Vivid, at Vivid Prowess. And be careful not to click on the video, by the way. Entire Christian communities are being murdered by Islamists in Sudan. Mothers with their children are hanged and executed. Where's your Candace Owen on this? Where's your... And look, she does good things. I'm not trying to come after Candace Owens. But where are these people? Where's your international media? Where are your big talking heads? Christians are being slaughtered around the world. Anyway, that's what the article says. All right, let's keep going. Breaking. The Trump administration is now working a plan to replace half the ICE field office directors across the country to boost deportations aggressively. And been getting rid of 12 directors. This is from George on X.com. Good. Let's get it done. Right Angle News Network. Breaking. It's been revealed that by day 5, okay, it was even shorter than I thought, of Joe Biden's presidency, the auto pen had already begun being used, and by 2022, it was almost exclusively used for all pardons and executive actions with zero record of Biden's personal approval. Because we knew they propped him up like Bernie at Weekend for Bernie's, and they tied a string to his arm and made him wave his hand, and they gave him some ice cream because that helps with dementia, and then they put him back in bed, and they just did what they wanted. They just ran through this country like like prunes through your grandma with the same outcome. From Daily Caller newsfoundation.org, and David Blackman is the author of this. Mining makes a comeback in America because we're going after these minerals again, because we're going after our own precious metals. JP Morgan Chase rolled out a $75 million upfront capital investment in an Idaho based miner Perpetua Resources. This is what we need. This is as of October 27th. Let's go get this stuff. Let's be great. Let's do it. There was another vote. Once again, that Lisa Murkowski, Mitch McConnell, Susan Collins voted against the tariffs. Once again, it doesn't matter. Ted Cruz's phone records. I don't know if you saw that press conference were subpoenaed by J6 and Jack Smith. Let's talk about what happened last night. JD Vance went to Oxford, Mississippi, and did a Turning Point rally where he took live fire questions from people that were friendly and hostile to him and handled it with class and ease, baby. He made a statement, and I was glad to see it. If you didn't get the chance to watch that, you need to go back and do that, or at least pull up the clips. He handled it like the president that he obviously is. And this is from Andrew Colvin. It says JD Vance just stood on stage for over an hour, taking unscreened questions from students on abortion, Israel, immigration, and Christianity in front of 10,000 people and a million more at home. Politicians don't do that. It's too risky, and especially when you're the vice president. He did it. He did it with class. It's awesome. Now, here's something that's shocking. Oh, I can't believe we have these tariffs. Here we go. Breaking from FoxNews.com and from MAGA Voice on X.com. China's president stuns the world, thanking President Trump for promoting peace. Mr. President, you care a lot about world peace, quote, and you are very enthusiastic about settling regional hotspot issues, unquote. Strength creates peace. Weakness creates chaos. This is from Congressman Randy Fine on X.com. He says, I'm going to introduce a bill to ban all non-citizens from any form of welfare. No food stamps, no housing, no Medicaid, no cash assistance, not one penny, not one. If you want free stuff, go home. Amen, brother. I'm with you. You can come here and get a job and you can work and you can be productive and we'll accept you. You can assimilate into our culture. We want you. We need you. We want the best. Whenever has your favorite football team in the NFL gone into the draft and taken all of the worst possible college athletes and then turned around and told you it's for your good and for their good? They want the best, and that's what we want as well. Update from U.S. Homeland. Oh, I accidentally went to jump to a truth article. Update from U.S. Homeland Security News on X.com. It's over. The Trump-Xi battle in the trade war ends after only 100 minutes. No joint press conference, no joint statements. China turns around and orders 180,000 tons of soy as a gesture of goodwill. This, and they're calling it a nothing burger. They're saying it's going to be a few months. Trump's not backing down. We're not caving to the will of the Chinese. That's what we need. This from Speaker Mike Johnson, Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives, on his it looks like his X post. The, the Democrat Party is in the process of imploding and everyone can see it. While Democrats embrace a radical far left agenda, endorse Marxist mandami, and shut down the government, Republicans are cutting taxes, securing the border, reducing crime, delivering peace through strength, and continuing to bring working class Americans into the tent. The contrast is clear. Amen, brother. That's what I'm talking about. All right, everybody. That's your rapid fire news for today. I hope all of you have a great day. I hope God blesses you and, go out, make something happen. We'll be back and do it all again tomorrow.